Hello, welcome to this, your daily briefing. I have to confess that I've had a couple of comments on here questioning my interest in Leeds United Football Club. But I tell you something, I'm several episodes into their Amazon All or Nothing doc, and what an extraordinary football club. Just everything's done right. Everything's done right. I know things were done poorly in the past, but who cares? But just the mood in the club, the way the owner talks, the way he acts publicly, extraordinarily hands-on, just genuine. The director of football, clearly an authentic football man. And as a Tottenham fan, it's heartbreaking. It really is. It's a pity that we're wired as we are as humans, because it's like having a child. You despite whatever happens, you will always love it, and you can't change your affections because you can't step back. You can't act as coldly as your mind might be telling you to. And we refer to that as being the heartstrings ruling the head, but just having watched the Tottenham thing, that's what I'm really saying. It's not to do with the on-pitch stuff. So it's not to do really with like, I really love the Bielsa way or anything like this. But it's purely about the way these people conduct themselves as human beings. And every single episode is an eye-opener. It's a wonderful programme to watch. I mean, it is. I'm hooked, absolutely hooked. But the way that it comes across, and just everything unfolds as one might expect it to. And there is a real sort of, I'm going to use the word again, there's a real authenticity about that club that I'm hugely jealous of. Hugely jealous. I mean, one example is when they talk to the fans, and these are the gap between the fans at Leeds and the sort of the client reference numbers at Tottenham. Now, I don't want to set fire to people that watch my videos, Christ, but there's a tranche of Tottenham fans that appear to be, I don't know, it's just kind of shouty and jumpy and screamy, and I understand why some of these other channels are so successful in terms of numbers, and I applaud them, but it's not for me. But this business of smash the likes and, people sitting in front of dozens of shirts, and there doesn't appear to be that much kind of sentient thought going on. And the Leeds fans, maybe this is a complete anomaly. Maybe, it's not a reflection of how that club are. But the Leeds fans they chat to in the pub, and the guy with the little tattoo thing on his face, just a decent guy who understands football. And next to him, you've got kind of the other end of the scale in terms of sort of social presentability, with his Stone Island ghost jacket on. And when you meet those fans, and I lived up there for a while, and I've moved around a hell of a lot, really, by any standards, but it's a football city, and I just don't feel it with so many other clubs. I suppose Newcastle comes close, but that's such a train wreck of a story that there isn't any sense to be made of that. But with Leeds, I mean, I feel like I'm writing them a love letter here. But just for the way that they've set about, and the culture of the club, the way the players are. And there was a player, and these are tiny little things, little fragments, but there was a player whose name I don't know, and they showed a clip of him walking his dog. He had this huge bulldog thing, which was great. And one of the guys at the club was I think he was a press officer, and he was a football fan. I mean, so often they're like the guy that we've got at Tottenham. They're just these corporate machines. But he was talking about this player, and he just said, no, he's a really decent guy. He's a family man. He's crazy about his dogs. He's the most down-to-earth person you could meet. You got footage of him playing with his dog, and he's wearing this designer hat. And I wasn't quite sure what the label was, but there's so many things these days, it's difficult to keep up. And he was then in his sort of training gear. They were going around, and there's a couple of other lads there, and they've got like Moncler coats on and that sort of thing. And then I spotted that the guy's got the same beanie hat on that he was wearing when he was with his dog. So it wasn't like, and they know the cameras are on them. So that just struck me as this kind of down-to-earth nature. And I think Leeds United fans are grateful that the whole business with, I always forget his bloody name, but the clown from Chelsea, that those days are behind them. But that's the past, and it's so boring talking about that, as if that's a cloud still hanging over them. But I just wanted to get this off my chest, if you like, because Leeds are an extraordinary football club. And in another life, I just think to myself, I could have been born there or born near there. And, you know, you get the heartache and you get the joys and all the rest of it, and they've certainly had their fair share of both. But looking at it right now, because this is how we view life, you know, it's you know, from the memories and the snapshots and where you are right now. To be a Leeds fan in the 21st century is just, it must be heartwarming. And for all Tottenham's £1 billion stadium and magnificent training pitches and all this marketing speak, we don't have that. And I just keep on, as I'm watching this documentary, I'm thinking about how I felt whilst watching the Tottenham thing. And watching the Tottenham thing, the disconnect in me grew. And watching the Leeds thing, I was just thinking, you know, it's like looking in next door neighbour's car and going, you know, we could have for pretty much the same money, we could have got something that nice. And you know, you just and even the simple things. You know, I mentioned the guy's beanie hat, but the simplest of things. There was a guy at Tottenham, and I think he was called the Colonel, and he had a burger stall. You know, the old rat and horse meat flipped things, and all of these guys have with the new stadium. They by and large, most of them have been turfed out. And this guy would bark. He was like a barker, like, you know, in the market days, sort of back to the sort of 50s, 60s, 70s. You know, always shout, you know, like, what do you want on that, General? What do you want on that? You want mustard? You want onions? Two for cheese. You know, and he was a barker. He was there. He was part of the show. You'd have 2 or 3 people selling essentially the same bloody thing either side of him, but the queue was always there, and people were just in awe of the spiel. The thing, and Leeds United still all have those people there, and they have people selling. I mean, there was one with a pile of chips with a sausage and a bloody great ladle of gravy put on top of it. I mean, maybe I'm over romanticising things, I don't know, but I've walked down that road many a time and I've smelt those onions, and for me, that's all gone from Spurs. And that all comes from the boardroom. I say this all the time. I was on the phone to a colleague of mine yesterday, and I said, "Come on, you know that it all, the culture, the face, the flavour, the appearance of a business, it all drips down from the boardroom. It's nothing to do with the guys in the loading bay. And our club is run to stamp out anybody else that might make a penny off the back of us. And Leeds are just very forward thinking in the way they target and sign players or try to sign players, and they don't appear to be trampling the locals into the dust. So yeah, extremely jealous of another football club. That's my crime. So I'm going to call this one off. We'll publish this, and then I'll do the thing that I've actually written. Okay, cheers.